Greetings, you craven hulks. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to the Crack-A-Pack here on LRRMTG. Please subscribe to our humble channel. Today, I'm opening this pack of Kaldheim, which was given to me by Chris. Now, funny story where Chris gave it to me. This pack is actually from our local game store, Yellow Jacket Comics, here in Victoria, British Columbia, on the west coast of Canada. But it was given to me by Chris at MagicCon Chicago because Chris had visited town, bought it at YJ, intending to send it to us, and hadn't. And I believe he said that this pack has now traveled by plane, train, and automobile, if not more, boat, I think, actually, because there's a ferry, before finally coming back to Victoria to be open for your enjoyment. So let's do that. Lovely. First up, well, I can't read this because it's the placeholder card. You can use this to represent a double-faced card. Cool. How is this pack collated? Backwards to how I'm used to it. That's odd. All right, I'll start at the back. Fearless Pup. Single red mana for a 1/1 wolf with first strike. Flavor text, awoo. With Boast, for 2 and a red, Fearless Pup gets +2/+0 until end of turn, and Boast means activate it only if this creature attacked this turn, and only once each turn. So you could do the Boast at any time after that creature had attacked. It could be before blockers, it could be during your end step, at some point after attackers, but never in your first main phase. Never. The Fearless Pup is fine. It could threaten to trade. It was okay. There were decks you wanted the 1-drop, but it's not astounding. Next, Code Spell Cleric. 1/1 for a single white mana. Creature human cleric with vigilance. When it enters the battlefield, if it is the second spell you cast this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, which could be itself. This could be a 1/1 vigilance for 2 if you were also playing a Fearless Pup. There were some low-to-the-ground decks in this format, if I recall, but it was never the most fun deck to play in this format. Changelings. Next, actually, Giants was fun too. Cinderheart Giant. 5 red for a 7/6 Giant Berserker with Trample. And when Cinderheart Giant dies, it deals 7 damage to a creature an opponent controls, chosen at random. It could be any one of their creatures. It was rarely the one you wanted, but it was something. Also, it's a 7/6 trample for 7. This was maybe too expensive. We're sort of working with both ends of the spectrum here so far, with 1-drop, 1-drop, 7-drop. Let's try to find something a little bit in the middle. Next is, well, sure, 2-drop works, I suppose. Story Seeker. 1 and a white for a 2/2 with lifelink. Yes, that would be a fine card to play. 2/2 lifelink. Nice on the mana curve. Lifelink keeps you in the game. Yeah, good stuff. These cards don't feel good. I'm just noticing. They're slippy. I don't know. Where was this printed? Japan. Huh. They don't feel right. Draugr Recruiter is next. 3 and a black for a 3/3 zombie cleric with Boast. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. When this card was spoiled, I was so excited because I thought it would be a really powerful effect to be able to attack with this 3/3 and then get a creature back. But in play, what happened was my opponent killed it before I got a chance to do that every single time. Or they had a giant that I couldn't attack into. Darn this being well balanced in the set, I suppose, in terms of how much removal there is, I guess. God, these are slippery. Struggle for Skemfar is next. It's 3 and a green for a sorcery. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control, and then that creature fights up to 1 target creature you don't control, which is fine, but you can also foretell the struggle of Skemfar. Foretell, boy, this was a mechanic to cast a long shadow. During your turn, you may pay 2 generic mana and exile this face down from your hand. On a later turn, you can cast it for its foretell cost. So if you have nothing else to do on turn 2, You could foretell this and be like, oh, I have a vision of something terrible about to happen to one of your creatures. And then on a later turn, for just a single green, you can go, haha. And yeah, hunt the weak for a single green. It's pretty good. I mean, obviously you have to sort of front load some of the cost, but it's still overall cheaper. This one is, some of the foretell costs were variable, but this one's overall cheaper. Next up we have Raven Wings. It's Raven Wings. There's a pun there, but I don't... You know what? Don't worry about it. We'll cut this. 2 mana for an artifact. The equipped creature gets +1/+0 and has flying. But Graham, that's exactly the same as a kite sail. Ah, no, because this also makes you a bird. I don't remember why that was important. Equipped creature gets +1/+0, has flying, and is a bird in addition to its other types. And the equip cost is 2. I know there was the changelings. Was this just so you could... Were there spells where you could nominate creature types, and this was just so you could go, bird, and it's all your changelings, and then Gary holding the wings being like,
yeah, caca, I'm also a bird, and I don't die to this wrath.
Sure, great, okay. I would never in a million years have remembered that Raven Wings also makes the creature a bird. I just remember Raven Wings of sometimes you get big board stalls and you need to give your Cinderheart giant wings and throw him at your opponent, and that's how you win games. Next, oh, here we go. Here's #1 pick common so far of everything we've seen. Behold the Multiverse. 3 and a blue for an instant. Scry 2, then draw 2, and you can foretell. So you pay 2, do it face down, and then its foretell cost later is 1 and blue. So yeah, strong early pick for power level in this so far, but I feel like we got to be getting into the uncommons. We're not yet. First, it's a Grim Draugr, who's also actually a decent creature. 2 and a black for a 3/2 snow creature, zombie berserker, and for 1 and a snow, Grim Draugr gets +1/+0 and menace until end of turn. And you can keep paying that as many times as you have 1 and a snow mana, which is generated by snow permanents. For those keeping nope, doesn't work. You can pay it many times. Giving it double, triple menace doesn't matter, but you can keep getting more power out of it. So that's cool. I quite like Grim Draugr. I would say of the cards here, it's probably the second of the commons, but Behold the Multiverse is way, way out in head. So uncommon time. Let's see what we got here. Clarion Spirit. Yeah, this is a good one. 1 and a white for a 2/2 spirit, and when you cast your second spell each turn, you make a 1/1 spirit with flying. Very good stuff from the Clarion Spirit. You could overwhelm the board pretty quick with the cast 2 spells matters deck. Our next uncommon is Crush the Weak. 2 and a red. It deals 2 damage to each creature. If a creature dealt damage this way would die this turn, exile it instead. So then my Draugr Recruiter has nothing to do. And this can be foretold for a single red. So this, you just pay its full cost, but in 2 separate installments. It's fine. You know, a Pyroclasm is a fine thing to have. I don't think it's anywhere near the power level of Clarion Spirit and Behold the Multiverse, but let's see how our third uncommon weighs into contention here. It's Carder's Vicious Return. 2 black red for a saga. Chapter 1. You may sacrifice a creature. When you do, Carder's Vicious Return deals 3 damage to any target. Sure. 2. Each player discards a card. Well, now hang on, I don't like this. Chapter 3. Return target creature card, from your graveyard to the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on it, and it gains haste until your next turn. This card's fine. It's okay. We have a snow-covered island as our land, and as a foil, we have a snow-covered swamp. So 2 different snowlands in this pack. Pick them early and often, and our rare is another red-black saga. It is the Blood Sky Massacre. 1 red-black. Chapter 1, create a 2/3 red Demon Berserker creature token with menace. Sweet, 2/3 menace for 3? I'm in. Chapter 2, whenever a Berserker attacks this turn, you draw a card and lose 1 life. Luckily, they've given you a Berserker with menace for just such an emergency as this. So, in case of Chapter 2, break the glass of Chapter 1. Chapter 3, add red mana for each berserker you control. Until end of turn, you don't lose mana as steps and phases end. Now is Grim Draugr zombie berserker? There was a berserker sub-theme. That's very interesting. I've never actually, to my recollection, played with the Blood Sky Massacre, but I do remember the art because it's awesome. It's a giant tattoo sleeve, which I think it's neat when people play around with the different ways to present the sagas. That's super neat. I think the smart picks out of this pack are Clarion Spirit or Behold the Multiverse, but I'm not above taking pick one Blood Sky Massacre and trying to make Rakdos Berserkers happen, which is about the most you could hope for out of this pack, as it's overall, it's worth about $2.60, the vast majority of which is the 2 snow-covered lands. The foil swamp is 66 cents, and the island, the non-foil snow-covered island, is north of $1. And I don't get it, but here we are. So that's cool, I suppose. Chris, thank you so much for finally returning this Kaldheim pack to our fine city after its whirlwind adventure across the states. Very much appreciate it. If you wish to send us a pack, you can give it to us in person at MagicCon, as Chris did, or you can fire it through the mail to the address on your screen. Until next time, I have been Graham, joined by Paul on tech. Matt edits these, Jordan helps out with that, Heather gets these online, and you all have been watching, which is the most important part. Check out our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye, everybody.